I wanted to begin with a question I get a lot of times after I teach that first lesson. Why am I writing about my childhood? What if I want to write a novel? What if I want to write sci-fi? What if I want to write fantasy? I understand why I would write about my life for a memoir, but why am I writing about it for fiction? Well, to reiterate, because I think I said this in the first video, but it bears repeating, we all as writers pull from our deepest archetypal truths. And this is a great way to start writing fiction. No matter what, your truth and the epic things that have happened to you will filter into your novels, will filter into science fiction, will filter into memoir. The second reason is that getting you to write about an event allows us to sink our teeth into it and look at characterization, look at setting, and really dive into it and get into the sensual details of the story. Also, studies show that when there's a 10-year time lapse between an event and the writing of it, we have often really processed that event enough to be able to write about it without getting writer's block. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about today was, after writing the very rough draft of your story, you will probably notice that some emotions are coming up, some memories are stirring, perhaps you're having dreams, and I wanted to tell you that that's very normal. In fact, it's quite exciting because it shows that the story itself is stirring up an energy, a pathos, and you need that for good fiction writing. So what I wanted to suggest is, I suggest this to all my writing clients, whether I'm coaching them one-on-one or we're working in the classroom, to use a process journal. Here are two of my process journals. And what a process journal is emotions that come up in the writing of your novel, your memoir, this story. You process them. You process the emotions in a journal. It's cheaper than a therapist. And I recommend to all my coaching clients to use a process journal for the rest of their writing career. You can put in memories that come up, emotions that come up, and there's something about purging it on the page, separate from the story, that allows the story to be a professional piece of writing and not just a journal entry about your emotions, about your childhood. So again, get yourself a process journal and start to use it as a writer, not just for this course, but for the rest of your writing life. The general lesson for today is about the rough draft. As a coach, the single biggest progress I see when I work with anyone is their ability to click their brain over into being able to write a rough draft. And what I mean by this is that many of us were taught in school to write essays and to worry every piece of punctuation, to worry every piece of grammar, to worry every sentence until it's perfect. It's very difficult to write a book this way. What you need to do is to be able to write it roughly and not worry about the grammar, not worry about the punctuation, not worry about the spelling, not even really worry about the facts, not even worry about whether or not it's good writing. You're putting the story on the page in one flow. You're just going with the flow without the critical brain, the brain that is perfectionist, coming in and stopping you to where then you go back to the first paragraph and rework it for a week. The problem is you lose all flow of the passion of the storytelling. Now this is true even for the short piece you wrote, and the reason I had you write it in one sitting, in one flow, as you'll see with the story that I posted as well, about Little Women, is to get the essence of the story out. it's 80% rough draft, really, and only 20% polishing and refining. And for the purposes of this course for 5 weeks, I wouldn't do any polishing at all, frankly. I would just keep building the story from the passion of your soul onto the page. So it can take 3 months to get your brain to click out of perfectionism into the creative flow of the rough draft, or it can take a lifetime. I've worked with a lot of people, and some people can click over in about 3 months and really go, and they get their novels written really fast. Some people, because of their wiring or their training or their families, the whole control issue is a little bit harder to let go of, and it can take a lifetime. Everything's okay as long as you understand you're trying to release the grip of that self-critical brain that makes you go in and really niggle at the smaller details way before it's time to polish the story. It interrupts the passion when you do that. So one of the biggest issues of writer's block is this issue. If you have a half-finished manuscript that you cannot finish, if you've always wanted to write but you can't seem to do it, if you have a finished manuscript that's never gone to publication, all of this has to do with that perfectionism, that locking up of the brain, and it's nothing to do with the true creative flow. The point is this passion of your soul. The point is getting your soul on the page. To me, all of the other things like grammar and punctuation and the correct verb usage comes much, much later after the storytelling is purged on the page. So I urge you to keep in rough draft form throughout this process. So the final thing I would like to discuss today is about the social aspect of writing. We really respect your privacy, so if this makes you have a panic attack to even think about doing, don't worry about it. But if you can, go to the Facebook forum and start sharing questions, advice, photos, snippets of your story, your favorite quotes, your favorite authors. When I teach this workshop and people are present, it's very important that they share their stories. It juices you up as a writer, it juices the other person up as a writer, and it really gets the flow going. And the whole reason for the Facebook forum is to create that kind of paradigm for you and for other people. And as much as you give in the social interaction, in the sharing, that's what you'll get back to. So please go to the Facebook forum, please share your work, create a dynamic, active energy, and it could help you as a writer profoundly. And I wouldn't just suggest this for the 5 weeks. We'll try to keep the Facebook forum going for you after this course is over, but I would also suggest it in your community. Can you find other writers to work with? If you don't like writers groups because you don't know the people, can you start your own? I just would say is a profound truth about writing is you need to engage with other people in a dynamic way, because as we all know, it's an extremely solo pursuit. Okay, thank you. Let's get started with the assignment for today. Thanks so much for being here.